used to call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Batman.
Good morning. Welcome back to Crazy Joe's concession stand. I wasn't planning to shoot outside the theater. I'm outside my local Regal on my way to see Maxine. I'm kind of not, I used to shoot myself going into the theater, and I decided I'm really not going to do that anymore. But I wanted to point out today how busy the parking lot is. The parking lot here is just packed. It's like 11 p.m. on a Friday night. I'm here to see Maxine. I have no question in my mind that most of these cars are probably for Despicable Me 4, but I just thought I'd point it out because it's a really good sign that the box office is bouncing back between Despicable Me and Inside Out 2 and Bad Boys. We've had a string of successes, and I think that's nice. But all right, I'm gonna check this movie out. Be back later with my views on Maxine. All right, I am back home after having seen Maxine. To those who don't know, Maxine is the third film in the trilogy that began with the movie X, and then we got a prequel called Pearl. And so Pearl is technically the first film in the franchise, although it was released second. X kind of came out a couple years ago, surprised everybody because movie directed by Ty West. It's set in the 1970s, and it's about a bunch of porn actors who go to a farmhouse to shoot an X-rated movie. And the farmer and his wife don't really know why they're renting the barn. They're not in on it, and when they find out, they're not too happy. And it's a heck of a film. It got great reviews. It was generally well liked. But what really surprised everyone is, unbeknownst to anyone, Ty West had already shot a prequel to this film, and the movie ends with a trailer for a prequel called Pearl. Nobody was expecting when X opened that there was a prequel already made. So just months later, both of these films came out in the same year. X and Pearl came out both in 2022. So earlier in the year, we got X. Later in the year, we got Pearl. So two films in the same franchise in a single year. And Ty West kind of made them, quickly and without anybody knowing he was shooting a prequel. It was kind of surprising. Then when Pearl came out, people were surprised again, because once again it ended with a trailer for the third chapter, Maxine. Now we had to wait a couple of years because these two came out in 2022 and Maxine didn't open until this year, 2024. So we had a little bit of a wait. I think the strike had something to do with that. We probably would have had it last year had it not been for the strike. All three films star Mia Goth, and the newest film, whereas this one, X was set in the 1970s. Maxine is set in the 1980s. It follows Mia Goth's character of Maxine Mynx, who goes on to become a big name in porn in this franchise. And when we get to Maxine, she's trying to break into horror films, get out of the porn industry and more into more mainstream horror. So we find her auditioning for a horror film when we get to Maxine. So the question is, these were both very well received and well liked movies. So the question is, where does Maxine rank in this trilogy? You're doing a third chapter to a series that already is quite popular and popular with fans and critics alike. Where's Maxine going to fit in? I'm happy to report Maxine's the best of the three. I loved this movie. It's set in the 80s. That's always a sweet spot for me because I do have a great love of the 1980s. And it really captures the 80s aesthetic better than most films. It's not uncommon to set a movie in the 1980s, and some do it better than others. As much as I enjoyed the film, Wonder Woman 84 could have done a much better job playing with their 80s setting. It's not always something that people nail, getting that setting just right. Well, Maxine, man, it just feels like the 80s. The music, the the clips on the news. They do it beautifully. Okay. The story, another thing I wondered is, it's like 10 years later, the events on the farmhouse, having been like 10 years in her past, is this just a new movie starring the character of Maxine that really doesn't have that strong of a connection to what came before in X? No, Maxine is a true sequel to X. It really, really picks up where this character has been prior. The events of this movie are important. Look, I'll be honest with you. I like Pearl. This is a good movie. You don't really need to see Pearl. You really don't need to see Pearl. I mean, if you saw Pearl, you know you're going to be better off because it's a good movie. But X really is the film. X and Maxine are more closely knit together than Pearl is. Pearl's a little bit more of the outlier. But Maxine definitely is a follow-up to X in where the story goes. In fact, there's some little Easter eggs in X that really come into play in Maxine that maybe you're not expecting. It's kind of a whodunit. Someone is stalking girls in 1985 Los Angeles, and there's a killer who appears to have some satanic roots. He's putting satanic symbols on these girls, and the police are baffled. And it's a bit of a whodunit film, and it should keep you guessing to the end. It really should. But when you get there, it's also a reveal that is so natural and so logical that you're going to be like, why didn't I see it coming? That's how I felt. I think it's very, very satisfying film, very satisfying conclusion to the trilogy, and just a heck of a film. I really like it, man. This is a great trilogy. This is a Ty West, you've done good, my man. Good on you. You've made a truly excellent horror trilogy. And I think the final chapter, Maxine, is the best of the three. If I seem out of it, it's because it's very late at night. I went to an 11 p.m. showing, and it is now 2:20 in the morning, and I am tired. But I am giving the biggest recommendation I can give to Maxine. So go check it out. All right, everybody, keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas with the plastic feet. Keep wearing those pajamas. Tell everyone you meet. Keep wearing those pajamas with the back door flap. Keep wearing those pajamas. Don't open it, it's a trap. Oh no, it's a trap. Some people call them PJs, some people call them jammies. They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander pajamas, but no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas. Keep wearing those pajamas. I know we're having fun. Keep wearing those pajamas. And now the song is done.